strange. When we were in Libya, I didn't like the assignment at all. But at the time, Gaddafi was in his green book phase. One thing he had, everybody had to paint their door green. And to this day, still the door is painted green. He then adopted a green flag, which is just a piece of cloth for me. Whereas the old flag adopted now by the revolutionaries, is rather attractive red, black, and green one, which are sort of traditional Arab colors with the Arabic symbols on them. But Libya is a prime example of a government with poor governance. It's an area of 700,000 square miles, slightly larger than Alaska. Tripoli is home to 1.7 million of its 6.4 million people. About 600,000 in Benghazi over here, Tripoli is over there. This is about 1,500 kilometers, so a very long distance in there. We have three traditional parts of the country. There's the Cyrenaica over this part. You have down here the Fazan, this area here is called Tripolitania. Libya is one of the wealthiest countries in Africa after Seychelles, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon, three very well-known countries. It's got large petroleum reserves. These reserves are 10th largest in the world and producing 17th highest petroleum production in the world. And yet the infrastructure, with the exception of Tripoli and Sirte, which is Gaddafi's hometown, the infrastructure is very poorly developed. In Benghazi, I was there a couple of months ago in April, and I was struck by the fact there's no new buildings for 15 years, and the highway was all built in the royalist times before 1969 when Gaddafi took over. There's strong antipathy towards Gaddafi and his family. In part, one reason in the East they don't like it is because of the economic imbalances. Gaddafi's wasted the funds of the money on supporting revolutions throughout Africa. Against almost every country's had a plot by Gaddafi. He, of course, has responsible for Lockerbie, all sorts of dreadful terrorist episodes, etc. He's also guilty of very serious political repression. Under his system, he doesn't really have any role. No, there's not president. He's just the leader, the leader, the guide of the country. And yet, in one day, in 1997, he murdered 1,200 people in Benghazi. Since the revolution started in February, several thousand people have gone missing. You talk to people, one of the men I met from Benghazi is the head of the office director of the president of the head of the transitional government, a man named Abdul. And this man, his name's Abdul Halim Zaman, had spent 7 years in solitary confinement in one of Gaddafi's prisons. It was very articulate and very, I'd be brain dead if that is. He was in a room, no larger than this, for 7 years. He was allowed to have a book and a dictionary. The book he chose was something by Dante in Italian, an Italian dictionary. He taught himself Italian fluently in jail. That's the way he maintained his sanity for 7 years. And of course, so obviously he wants to see a change in Libya. You go down, there's a little square in the middle of Benghazi called Meydan Tahrir, because these revolts started in Benghazi February 14th, just around the time Mubarak was going out. There were calls for peaceful resistance, started on Facebook. They took hold of Benghazi, spread quickly to other cities. February 17th, the regime began a very forceful crackdown. Benghazi, February 20th, fell to the rebels. Misrata and Zawiya and other key cities soon fell. And it looked like Gaddafi was going to go the way of Mubarak. But although he largely disbanded his army, he'd given each of his sons, he has 4 sons, and his son-in-law, a very, very well-funded and well-armed brigade. And these are terror brigades, really. And they have every modern weapon imaginable. And these were unleashed against various places. One was outside Misrata and shelled the city mercilessly when I was there in April. It was dreadful. You had a situation where pressure to no-fly zone came March 13th. The Arab League extraordinarily made a decision wherein they endorsed a no-fly zone unanimously. I don't know what Syria was doing, but they apparently did not oppose that either. On March 19th, Gaddafi's advance against Benghazi, he'd almost coup, covered all the land, been lost, about to take over Benghazi when NATO airstrikes managed to push him back from there. Other cities in the west did fall to Gaddafi, with the exception of Misrata, which is the third largest city, and 4 very small towns along the Tunisian border. On April 6th, this Transitional National Council, an opposition group, was formed in Benghazi. They're the ones who claim legitimacy and are recognized by several governments, but not the United States or the United Kingdom. And on June 27th, of course, the ICC, International Court of Justice, indicted Gaddafi, his son, Saif al-Islam, and another man named Abdullah Snus, the head of intelligence on war crimes. So looking ahead in Libya, certainly the war is ratcheting down. It's continuing, but over time, I think many of these forces that are at Gaddafi's are mercenaries, highly paid. They don't want to die, so many of them are starting to desert. On the other hand, the opposition forces are a little more professional in terms of the way they're able to organize themselves, but still very immature the way it's hit and run. They go out and take over a town one night, by day Gaddafi goes back. There are not many towns in this country either. 6.1 million people in a place size larger than Alaska. There's a lot of room for problems. Politically, there are divisions between the former Gaddafi officials and new personalities on this council. Several ministers who read the paper have left office, taken refuge. Most of them have not joined the revolution. Abu Jalil, the current head of it, is a former justice minister who's very early on condemned Gaddafi, and he is very popular and indeed is quite acceptable to people as being the opposition leader. But others like Musa Kusa, the former very dastardly intelligence chief, is not welcome and remains in exile and in government. Economically, the country should be among the wealthiest in the world. The oil fields have not been damaged very much. At one point, Qatar's already facilitating the export of some oil, so a little bit of income coming in, but not enough. Socially, they're very, very lucky. Unlike many countries in the Middle East, they are socially a very homogeneous population. Everyone is Sunni. Many are indeed conservative Muslims. You see some evidence of Salafis in the country, but at the moment, at least, there's no climate action, which is a